Equity and Social Justice Minister Joachim Henry speaking ahead of Monday's cabinet meeting on the brutal slaying early Sunday of Fishatel Ramio and the wounding of 3 other occupants of the targeted vehicle in which she was traveling, says he, as minister, feels a sense of responsibility and failure.
We see ourselves as responsible every time a young person, from the perspective of the Ministry of Equity, asking what we could have done to avoid this happening. I also need to personally express my disgust now that the young lady has passed, that she's been modeled with guns. I'm sure that this thing existed before, and one would have asked what could have been done to avoid her from going beyond.
Henry says his ministry will step up its game and will seek to coordinate efforts with other government departments, agencies and civil society, all in an effort to get crime under control.
We have commenced by getting our social transformation officers on the ground to work with the groups. We will collaborate with the Ministry of Youth and Sports to ensure that the clubs are strengthened. We will continue to support those who advocate to get more counsellors in our communities at our schools levels, school levels, so that we can save those children before it goes too far. I think as a society, while the police, and we support our Prime Minister and the Minister responsible for Home Affairs in terms of the initiatives of the police, but from the humanity part of it, the Ministry of Equity have a responsibility towards contributing to the safety of our young people, and we see ourselves as being responsible. We see ourselves as having failed when we see young people lose their lives in the way that it continues to happen.
So, why are these videos of people posing with what seems to be powerful weapons not resulting in these people being brought to justice? The police commissioner says more is needed by way of evidence to secure a conviction in such cases.
It what appears to be a firearm, so you would need to do more, especially find it and so on, to say that it was actually a firearm. And I'm saying with our eyes we are saying that it's something that appears to be a firearm, but we can't go to a court of law and prove that this was a firearm. So there are other things that has to be done, which I won't say now.
The police commissioner says he's heartened by the new firearms bill, which has gone through its first reading in Parliament, but he reserves his delight for the actual enforcement of the legislation by the courts.
I'll feel secure when the application of those fines are being done. If one is found guilty with an unlicensed firearm, I would like to see the fines indicated are applied, and that is the only time persons would feel the effect of it. So we don't just want it on the books, but the judiciary need to realize, I'm not saying that if someone is not guilty of an offense that you find him guilty, but once the person have been found guilty, they need to pay for being guilty of having an unlicensed firearm.
Violent crime has been high in St. Lucia from the turn of the century, with successive administrations promising but failing to bring the scourge under control. Increasingly, the criminals are using more powerful guns to carry out their murderous deeds and are taking to social media to display their firepower. Stanley Lucian for the HCS News Force.